You know, the Bible is very clear that we are supposed to be people of light. The Bible says, let your light so shine that others see your good work and glorify our Father who is in heaven. You need light in dark places. I want to give you a challenge this morning. I challenge this congregation to build 100 houses in the ideal neighborhood or some other neighborhood in Dallas where the need is great.
I remember when Millard Fuller came. He came the first time. We were having lunch and he says, I'm going to ask Reverend Craig if he wants to build 100 houses. And Susan and I were just going, that's just grandiose and crazy.
Well, I think it depends on who you talk to, and you're talking to me. I had a guy call me up and said, 8 of us want to talk to you about building houses for, Habitat for Humanity. We'll take care of the funding. We'll take care of the funding if you will get behind it and be the advocate for it and the champion of it and say good things about it. Okay, let's do it.
And I'll tell you, on this day, there's only one direction that God calls us to look, and it's to the south. It's to look to the downtown, look to Fair Park, look to South Dallas, and ask the question, who will speak for Christ? Who will lead the poor? If this church, there's no one else out there. As we look to the south and to the east and to the west and to the north, we ought to weep and we ought to lead.
My name is Pamela Manning. I have 3 kids, Brittany, Colby, and Malcolm. Malcolm is my oldest, Brittany is my middle child, and Colby is my youngest child. Brittany and Colby both are college graduates. Malcolm, he has his own professional. He's a welder. I was living in Pleasant Grove. I was renting a house. The landlord was going to sell the house, so I had to find somewhere to go. A friend of mine told me about Habitats, and he shared the program with me and asked me that I want a Habitats house. And that was the greatest moment of my life, is when someone told me that I could own my own house.
Several years ago, we were invited to be a part of this large blitz build, which is when Habitat puts up 10 to 20 houses in a neighborhood at one time. Pamela was assigned to us.
First house I've ever owned.
And we were her home sponsor.
Having Habitats has really been a great thing for me, from where I've been to where I am now. I remember I lived in apartments, didn't have a car, had to ride the bus, had to go to all different kind of programs. I had to be in the system. And I did it. I did it for a long time.
My mom, growing up, and I guess me now being a therapist and being able to see people in their different lives and different stages. So I didn't realize how much, how low my mom was when we was younger.
I remember I was in a house and I didn't have no heat. And it was cold. I mean, it was real cold. So I had to move out of that house. Then I had to go back over to the program, get in another house. You have to look for a house. So I had to move with my sister. So I've been through a lot.
I see so many moms that turn their back on their kids. And I just thank the Lord that my mom didn't do it. And she just stayed strong when there has been nobody to depend on. God has always opened up doors for us and our family. And it's funny because people from Highland Park has been blessing us since we was kids, since from Christmas, adopting us to make sure that we had good Christmas.
You just don't know what a great feeling it is to have a home. And it's wonderful. I don't know. It's a wonderful feeling.
one of the best parts of all of this is all the people that I've been able to work so closely with in such a small environment and make lifelong friendships. Friendships that we have shared in making people's lives more beautiful, in making their eyes sparkle, in making their hearts sing. And with all of that, it's always made my heart sing. So.
I think Habitat impacts not only individual families, but there's a ripple effect that extends into the communities as well.
Habitat is the key to rising out of poverty. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. The ability to have a mortgage and make that payment and build equity and asset wealth is the #1 way to move from low income to high income, no matter where you are in the world.
When I think about what we do missionally, the churches do a lot of things, whether it's worship or starting other churches, but when I think about the missional arm of our church, our partnership with Habitat really represents about the best that we do.
We are so excited about the partnership between Highland Park Methodist and Habitat. It really is one of our true flagships in terms of what's possible.
One of the things that our partnership with Habitat has done is it has found a way to develop not only generosity through capital, but through time and labor in a very meaningful and beautiful way. The consistency of trying to build 100 homes, of being out there on a work site every single weekend has created hundreds of opportunities for people not only to give, but to serve.
I think it was a very unifying thing for us. We were newlyweds and we got involved in this program, and it was tremendously strengthening for our marriage.
This church, as long as it's going to be here, will always be committed to mission and outreach. At the end of the day, what we do really ought to be pleasing not to each other, it ought to be pleasing to God. So I think the ultimate assessment of what we do with Habitat is it pleasing to God? I know in the work that we're doing with Habitat, He's pleased.